Hey, Coach. Finish your last scrimmage. No tackling today, and really it's first second team versus the scout team. What was your overall assessment?
Oh, we didn't tackle really because in the last couple scrimmages we've gotten guys beat up, and we still got guys in the training room today that got hurt last week in the scrimmage. So just trying to get a healthy football team prepared as we can to go down there next weekend. We're going to need every healthy body that we think is at the top of the depth chart. Overall, I hope Coastal Carolina isn't as good as our scout team, because I thought our scout team did a really good job today, and I don't feel like our ones and twos that were going against them executed fundamentally the assignments, and just overall not real pleased with how we performed today.
And I guess Tyler got most of the opening round snaps, and seemed like the first team offense went pretty smooth, but you were without two of your fullbacks today, Tyson Riley and Jacoby Buchanan.
It's a little hard to tell on some of those runs when you hand the ball off if they're going to get tackled right there. I told the officials, just spot the ball. If you think anybody's close, just blow the whistle and spot the ball. There might be a couple more yards in there, but there weren't enough big plays. We're playing against a team that today, a scout team, and they've played against our offense for the last 2 weeks. But, I mean, some of those guys were playing in high school last year, or playing at the prep school last year. And, I mean, they're not at the top of the defensive depth chart. For those guys to go out there and stop the offense on a 3 and out, or get negative yardage plays, put us in negative yardage plays, which is one of the big things we harp on. I wasn't very pleased. I don't think the first offense or second offense or any offense moved the ball very well, and we got to move it better. And if we don't play better, if we don't find a way to block better, control the line of scrimmage better next week, then they're going to kick the ever living crap out of us. And that's where we are right now.
And your scout team did set up in some spread offense today, and what are some of the looks that you expect Coastal Carolina to play with?
We tried to simulate as much as we could formationally and the action of the plays, what we think we're going to get from Coastal. Obviously, we aren't certain, but they've got a dynamite quarterback and a backup quarterback who started games and played in some big victories for them, the Carpenter kid. And he's got a great supporting cast, and they are so well coached. Jamie Chadwell does an incredible job. They're very athletic on defense. They got an outstanding team. They've won 23 games in the last 2 years. That's one of the top teams in college football. So I know they're well coached, and it's going to take a great effort on our part to win the game, and it's going to take our defense being able to stop an offense that's one of the best in terms of scoring last year, and the efficiency. If you look at what they did per pass play and what they did per run play, they're as good as anybody in college football.
Kicking, Quinn Marinsky had a couple of good field goal tries today. Cole Talley had one blocked early, then made one, and you had some pretty good punts out there, I would say.
The one that got blocked, I think Cole just kicked it low. I'll see it again on film, but it looked like it hit our own guys in the back. I'm really pleased with the way both those guys have been kicking. I think they've been kicking the ball well. Obviously, Quinn stepped in there and really kicked some good kicks. Billy is doing a good job with the punting, and pleased with him taking over for Zach Harding. The snapper Aguilar, he's doing a good job, and he's obviously done that for a year for us, so he's a veteran. Just overall, the coverage teams and the block teams, the return teams, there's things that we got to do better, and they all go. It just really comes down to fundamentals. It's not guys aren't aligned so terribly awful that they don't give us a chance. Just as we start to execute the play, there's fundamental things that they can do better, and those are correctable this week.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Ken.
We'll go over to Zoom, Charles.
Good afternoon, Coach. It's interesting. This is an intriguing college football season opener whereby I believe Nebraska and Northwestern are traveling thousands of miles to play their opener in Dublin. And here you are next week, this time you'll be in South Carolina for your opener. You know, coming off today's scrimmage, what is the preparation itinerary for this upcoming week for you guys?
We really went through this past week just like we will next week. I wanted to get those guys kind of some semblance of consistency. It'll change after we play. We're a Sunday workout team, but we'll practice on Monday and really be very light on Tuesday. We'll practice again a little heavier on Wednesday, walk through on Thursday, practice again on Friday, and then get on the airplane and travel down there on Friday afternoon. And then from there, it's just meetings and walkthroughs and those kinds of things. So that's pretty typical in terms of a game week, with the exception of we'll flip the Sunday and Monday. We would practice on Sunday and not on Monday, which will begin after we return home from South Carolina.
And the defensive line, it has some obvious talent, some notable returners, combined with some newbies, if you will. Can you provide us with a glimpse into this group and who you anticipate seeing action on September 3rd?
That's probably a position where we will play the ones and twos a pretty good bit. That it won't just be the same three guys in there the entire game, but guys like Felici, Komorowski, Tuioti, Richardson, I mean, all those guys at nose, and then Frey, Bonsu, Austin Hill, Nate Smith, Copeland. You know, there's some guys in there that I think will all rotate in there at the end positions. So it's just a group with a pretty good number of veterans, and guys that maybe you know, are a little bit different. You know, there's a big difference between a guy like Austin Hill and Bonsu and Frey. Bonsu and Frey are long and real heavy guys. Hill's a much quicker guy. Copeland more like Hill. So, you know, there's just things that we do with each of those guys, and I think each one of them brings some value to what we're trying to accomplish on defense.
Right. And my final question, were there any one or two guys that maybe caught their attention today and perhaps maybe solidified their status, not on the depth chart, but also even on the traveling squad?
Just thinking about today. You know, there's a freshman running back, Hayden Reed, and he made some errors today, but it's like I like how fast he plays and how physical he plays for a freshman. He's kind of working his way up the depth chart. I don't know that he's ready to take every snap at this point, but just at least provide some depth. Blaine Cleaver, who he had that holding penalty against him on that long run we had called back, which was just, you know, a mistake fundamentally, but how he's developed. He was playing linebacker, I guess at this time a year ago as a freshman, and we moved him in the spring to tight end, and he's just really taken to it and is doing a really nice job. He's definitely the number 2 guy there. And we've moved several guys. We moved David Crossan from defensive line to tight end, and he's not ready to play every snap yet, but we've seen some good things out of him. And the way the offensive line, the inexperienced guys in the offensive line have developed, like Jackson Filipowicz was playing guard and has played some center. Buckingham, Dellinger, Lombardi, those guys are all guys with little or no experience in games, and I think, you know, they're just going to provide the depth, and they've come along and done a good job. So there's other positions that have had guys step up, but those are 2 that I think of. You know, that on defense, we're going to look different at linebacker. Obviously, we've got Malcolm Morrison is graduated, so Jimmy Charlo being the guy that starts there, and Jimmy's really had a good camp. Been pleased with him. Chance Keith, who moved from corner in there to that position as well. I think he's doing a good job and certainly improving as the weeks go on here. And then Calvin Crummy finding his way to the top of the lineup at inside linebacker in place of Eric Smith. So there's some guys that are at every position. That's just the way it's got to go. You hope guys will kind of develop and ready themselves, and when it's their turn, they're able to make some plays.
Great, thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll go to Tom, and then Ken, you can wrap us up.
Hey, Coach, we talked to Spencer Jones earlier. Could you talk about his progress coming back from the injury?
He's continued to improve. He's dropped some weight. His weight kind of got up there as he's going through his rehabilitation. He's moving a lot better. He's a really smart player and a good leader, and I know he's got a great desire to get himself into the mix and play. And it just, it takes some time. When you have an injury like that, it just takes some time. The confidence to play like you played before and turn it loose. And I think we were seeing the same out of Jackson Powell, who had surgery on his knee and his back now playing outside linebacker. And it takes some time. But both of those guys are gaining confidence, and the more they play, the closer they get. They'll certainly be able to help us on special teams when they're not playing on defense.
Great, thank you.
And Ken?
Hey Jeff, Ken McMillan. Today aside, what's your overall view of the readiness of this team coming out of camp?
I'm glad we got another week left. I mean, like I said, I thought our performance today was substandard, and if we play next weekend like we played today collectively as a travel unit, the guys who are wearing the black and white jerseys will get our asses kicked. So that's about how I feel right now. So we'll see what happens this week. Hopefully it'll be better.
What needs to be done in this next week, though? Is this something that the leadership of the team has to kind of take control of, or do they all have to take a certain personal responsibility to get up to where they need to be? You tell me. You've been through this before, I'm sure.
It's my responsibility to get them ready and to have them focused so we don't miss assignments, and to block well and tackle well and take care of the ball better, and all the fundamental things, all the things that really matter when it comes to winning football games. And so whether it's blocking or taking on a block, you got to win there. If you're on defense and you take on a block and you can't win, that guy blocks you and keeps you blocked, it's hard to play good defense. If you're on offense and you can't sustain a block and the guy gets off the block and gets to the ball carrier, hard to move the ball on offense. So that's where it starts, and we got to do better with that. We had some assignment errors, which is frustrating, but what that means is we haven't explained it well enough, or we're making it too difficult. And so if that's the case, then we got to make it easier for our guys, or explain it better, teach better, and hopefully our assignments won't be something that cost us. It shouldn't. That takes no amount of ability to know what to do and to try to do it correctly. The opponent has something to do with you blocking him and keeping him blocked. The opponent has something to do with you trying to get off a block and you can't. They got guys that work on their skills and fundamentals and have ability too. They're all on scholarship, so we've got to perform better, and that's the bottom line. So hopefully we'll make some improvements there between now and next weekend. But it's more the things we can control than what we can't control that concern me.
Jeff, I know you've told us the past is the past, but how does this camp compare to others? Do you feel like they're not as prepped or not as ready as, say, some of these recent teams?
If you asked me the same question the previous 8 years, I'd probably tell you on the same Saturday that we stink. So probably not a whole lot different. Right now, we stink. So I hope we don't stink next Saturday.
All right. what are your most positive feelings coming out of camp?
I'm positive we got to get better.
But I mean, any areas or any players just jumped out maybe you weren't expecting, and you're just like, damn, that's good.
There's plays like that. There's things that happen, and there's certain guys that I think are doing their job and performing well in practice. But again, we're practicing against a scout team, so the fundamentals and the assignments, we just got to do a better job of executing those on a really high level against our scout team, and that'll make me feel like we're really getting close to being ready. And our guys have a great desire to succeed. They're high achieving people. It's why they're at West Point. But they're also human beings, and so there's always something more that they can do to get better and to improve, and that's my job, is to find those things and help them get there. And we're not talented enough that we can just show up on a Saturday afternoon and win a football game. We've got to execute it at a really high level. It's who we are. It doesn't mean we don't have talented players. I mean, we got a guy people are talking about being a first-round draft pick. He's certainly a talented player, but there's still things he can do better, and still things he can improve on, and that's both physical and mental. So that's what we're striving to do every day here, and I'm never going to be satisfied until it's perfect. So I've not been here a day yet where it's been perfect, so I'm probably never going to be satisfied.
That's all we got for today, guys. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ken.
Coach, just about the players have been wearing the padded cover on their helmets all through practice, today's scrimmage, and it's been used across college football, even NFL. And then you're going to go play. You're going to play a game? You're going to not use a padded cover.
Not permitted to wear those in a game.
Is that being evaluated as a safety possibility?
I don't know, and there's a couple of different companies that are making products like the one we have. There are other. The cap that we have comes from a certain company. There are other caps that come from other companies that are soft like that, and there are some that make a hard shell cap with a soft layer in between. So it basically is the hard helmet, and then over that is a hard shell with in between that hard shell and the helmet. There's a foam, and the philosophy is different on those. Just why you have one or the other. I think we'd be closer to wearing something with a hard shell with a soft pad in between if they feel like through research it will improve the safety of the players and won't jeopardize the safety of the players. And that's, I think, part of the evaluation is with a soft shell on the top of the helmet, and when helmets collide, just researching is there anything that would jeopardize the health because of that piece of equipment. But just don't think we're ready probably as a game to make that decision to say, okay, everybody's going to wear these. And I think there's going to come a point where there's going to be another improvement. There's been improvements throughout the years to helmet design and safety. I think there'll come a point where they say, okay, here is something that we're going to add. We're going to require it. It's safer. It may make the helmet look different. It may make it look bigger. It may need to be bigger. It may not. But I'm not a scientist and a doctor, and I want to do what we can to protect our guys. And there is research just through data that has been collected with teams that have worn these caps, that there is a decrease in the percentages of concussions. And it's when one guy is wearing one and one isn't, here's the percentage where it went down. And when two guys were wearing that soft shell helmet, here's where the percentage went down to. So we got the percentage is higher that they're not going to get a concussion when both players are wearing it. So that's why we put every single player in. And I know there's some teams and some NFL teams that are giving the guys a choice. You wear it or don't want to wear it. We didn't give anybody a choice. We just said, hey, we're going to wear these. And they're very lightweight. It doesn't add to anything in terms of the weight or the comfortableness of the comfort of the helmet is the same. It's the same helmet they put on, so really nothing changes.
Is there any group in college football that makes that kind of a decision, or would it do do an evaluation?
Oh, I think it's the NCAA that will make that decision, and as an American Football Coaches Association, we can make recommendations and kind of say what we think, but ultimately the governing body is the NCAA, and they make those decisions.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.